Welcome to Write Your Narrative, your weekly go-to Sweet Art podcast.
There's just so much culture and life in South Florida.
Art helped me find myself.
I can sit here and complain that Miami doesn't have any of these things, or I can find a way to do it.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
We have changed the conversation.
You're in the right place.
So, all right, let's get the show on the road.
Let's go. Let's get it
started. So, hi, everyone. Yes, and welcome to Write Your Narrative. I do have a very special guest today that I met not too long ago. We've been knowing each other through the Instagram and all the social media thing, but we haven't met in person, let's say, until just a few months, actually, maybe a year ago at the most. So, my guest today is Louie Diamondz, also known as Louie Diamondz.
That's the actual name, Louie Diamondz.
So Louie Diamondz is your name, and the other name, Louie Diamondz, is for the Instagram.
Yeah, because like when we started, when I first hopped on Instagram back in like 2010, there was already a Louie Diamondz with the S and a Z, and then I put in Lou Diamondz, and there was already one of those. So I said, you know what? Let me just do the study of Louie D, which is Louie Diology. So I stuck with Louie Diology, and that's like what everybody knows me as on social media. You know, so if you know me from social media, then you know me as Louie Diology. But you know, I'm also known as Louie Diamondz or Louie D.
Louie D.
Or my really close friends call me Lou.
Oh, Lou.
Diamonds or just regular diamonds, you know. So I did buy all those different variations of aliases.
All right. So, Lou, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, we are today in Little Havana, which is, for our listeners who may not know, one of the little neighborhood in Miami. And we are recording from a place called El Fresco, which is also Crev's studio.
So it's his studio. He's been here for 11 years.
Yeah.
I came in here around December.
All right. Yes, you do have your studio back here.
Yeah, I do. It's back there.
With your paint and everything. So I met Crev, Daniel, years ago. He was on the cover of the magazine, The Token of the World, back in June 2015. So yes, and then we actually recorded the interview and did the cover of the magazine in that beautiful little backyard that you guys have here.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's been quite some time. So talking about that space that we are in, you started a few months ago curating with some monthly art shows with local artists, which is something great because you are offering, first of all, you are, as a curator, helping the art community to grow, giving a platform to the art community, and then you guys selling the art for a really, really affordable price, which is something great because everybody can have a little piece, an original piece of artwork.
Correct.
So how did you actually get started with that idea, trying to use the space here?
So just going back,
yes,
you know, I used to also curate art shows, hip hop events, fashion shows back in like 2009 with a friend of mine named Kazilla. I used to curate hip hop shows when we were going to school at the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, and then simultaneously we would also curate the art shows and fashion shows during Art Basel, right? During the week of Art Basel during 2009, 10, 11, 12. And, you know, after that, we stopped, and then a lot of people would always ask me, hey, when are you going to start? When are you going to do another event? When are you going to do another jam? You know, when are you going to do another show? And I'd always say, I don't know. You know, I'd never really had the space to do it, you know.
That's another thing, yes.
So fast forward to 2023, I was studio mates with Didi Contreras. And
yes.
When I left the studio, she was like, hey, Louie, Crave is looking for a studio mate, and it's right down the street from where you live. Why don't you go talk to him and see what you can do? And I'm like, all right. So I came in here, El Fresco, and I think he was working on this tree here that you see in front of us. Yeah. And there was stuff all over the place. And I said, hey, are you looking for a studio mate? Didi told me. He's like, yeah. I said, hey, this is what I can do. I can offer, you know, I can curate art shows. That's a background that I have, and, you know, see where we could take it from there. It can, you know, bring some traffic in here. And, you know, I moved in April out of a whim, I really organized one within like a week, and that was a little successful. People came in, a little traffic, so Crave was like, wow, that's not bad, for not even promoting and organizing, and just like on a whim, let's do another one. And then we did another one, and that one became the first one, and then now we're on the 8th, and it's really fun just to curate and put together these shows between him and I. We know basically the whole art community down here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And through the hip hop culture, I've been, I know all the b-boys and the writers or the graffiti writers and things of that nature, all the elements of hip hop, so I bring that to the table as well. And, every time we do these shows, not only an art show, but we have b-boys, we have vinyl, which is, like DJs, which is an element of hip hop. And then, we have graffiti writers in here. So there's already 3 elements of hip hop present, not to mention Crave is a MC. He raps too. So we really have the whole hip hop, the elements of hip hop present under one roof, under all of these functions. So it's pretty cool. And, I'm glad I got to work with him, and I'm glad that he invited me into his space, and we can both make it here together and just, cultivate, his culture that we love, which is hip hop and art.
Yeah, which is something, that goes hand in hand. Really, it started back in the late 80s, 90s. The hip hop culture is definitely something cool. So you're a DJ, you're a musician, maybe?
Well, not yet. No, not musician.
Not yet?
Not yet.
You're about. Oh, yeah. So you're definitely a DJ, so you're DJing and a b-boy?
Correct. Yeah, b-boying, that's how I started. I started with graffiti, but, before I got lured into the graffiti, from looking at it on the highways, and, it's just being around. I caught a glimpse of it, and it always attracted me. And in my middle school, there was a mural that said like the mascot, which is the Wildcats in middle school. So there was a big graffiti piece back there with like a Wildcat character. This was like 93, 94. So I kind of literally saw that. Sorry, that was like 95. I saw that. And then, I would always kind of write bubble letters in my book, but nothing, I didn't know it was graffiti. I didn't know what it was. I just...
We all did that at some point.
Yeah, I just saw it, and I was like, wow.
If it's not on the desk, it's on.
Yeah, and then fast forward to 97, when I got into breakdancing, that really lured me in. And then as I met other b-boys, and they were graffiti writers, and so I also maintained like the practice of graffiti, and I learned more about the culture and just like the generations of graffiti. So I stuck with the breaking. I really didn't do much graph, even though I still like tagged on my books and drew and all that. But
not just a tag.
Yeah, I just I kept breaking. So that was like my love was really the b-boying.
Yeah, that is. So you are a Miami native?
Yeah, I wasn't born in Miami.
You were born? Okay.
I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, but I lived down here. I lived in Broward.
All right.
So my middle school and high school, I grew up in Broward.
Okay.
And then after that, I've been living down here for about probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, with these art shows, you're really bringing the Miami culture, the local artists, give them a platform, like I said. And this is something really remarkable to do. We all need to do our part in order to kind of promote the art community, promote the artist, and that is something I applaud. I had to buy a piece the last show.
Thank you for
Brian Butler. I've been wanting a piece from him forever.
I don't know if you saw the one from like 2 shows ago, the show that we had called Typewriters. Did you see his, the number 9? It was a cat.
I may have seen it. I was
incredible. I thought he brought a print, and I'm like, man, wait. And then I looked at it really good. I'm like, oh wow, it was really, really good. Like I love Brian Butler's work.
It's incredible. It's really incredible. Big shout out.
Big shout out to Brian.
Big shout out. So you mentioned the breakdancing and everything. So you were actually came, I would say, full time to the art scene how long ago? Because I really discovered your art on the walls, on some painting about, I would say, 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, you were obviously in the art scene. Like you mentioned, you were hanging out with Godzilla at the time.
Yeah.
And most likely we met at the time, but now
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So at that time when when we were together, I really wasn't doing the stuff that I do now, right?
Yeah.
So I was just, a b-boy and a graffiti writer, and that was like the art that I did. I really didn't do the work that you see now, which is called Molecular Constellations, all the b-boys with the one line. That happened after all of that. So like I started this style in 2013.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
So a little more than 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
give us a little explanation on those b-boy and that one
Yeah.
line work that you're doing, which is just different than anyone else, at least down here.
Yeah. So when you look at my work, all of my work is one continuous line, right? And then you'll also notice that I have dots around the work.
Yes.
That's kind of where the line breaks. So the dots, they represent stars. Stars give off light. Light are particles. Particles are atoms, and atoms and groups are molecules. So the molecules, they'll travel the direction of the line, manifesting that image you see. When you take away the line, you're left with the constellation of molecules. So all of my work is called Molecular Constellations. And, when I have my shows, all the pieces, they connect. So the whole show is a continuous line. Yeah.
That is the concept is really, really nice. And then, of course, it's all based on these b-boy stances that the b-boys are doing. Most of them are like...
Yeah, they're really... Some of the b-boys, they're like just in normal poses, like a jailhouse pose per se.
All right.
Like when, I guess in prisons, when we would see like people taking pictures, they'll kind of like squat down.
Yo.
Yeah, and kind of do like a pose. So I kind of started doing those poses, and then I started doing like b-boy poses or freezes or stances, and like I exaggerate their hair really long, like their high tops.
Yes.
And their fingers really long, which they're inspired by like the Nazca lines. If you ever see like the Nazca lines,
no, I'm not familiar with this.
So, yeah. Okay. But they're on the mountains.
Okay, now
they have to go on a helicopter or something like that. You see them. So, I saw like the monkey tail or the hummingbird with their beak is really like exaggerating long.
I can see that. Yeah.
So I kind of said, you know what? Let me exaggerate these high tops and these fingers really long to kind of give it even more of a flair. So that's kind of what I did. I got inspired also by two of my favorite movies, which are House Party and Juice. So
not familiar with this.
Yeah. So House Party, it's Kid and Play, and Kid has like a really tall high top, and then in Juice they all have the flat top or the step or the Gumby or so the slope. So all of those different haircuts that you see on my characters, when you see like the step.
Yes. I thought they were bucket hats.
No. Well, there's one of them. Some of them, if there's a round thing around the head, like that one right there.
Okay.
That one is a bucket hat, like a Kangol bucket hat. Yeah,
the Kangol hat.
But if it doesn't have that round, exactly, like that Kangol hat, if it doesn't have that round circular object around it, then it's just a normal high top. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
And then at the top, you'll see like it's like a step.
Yes.
Or if it's round on one side and sharp on one, it's like the Gumby. And then if it's flat, completely like leveled out, that's called just the flat top. And then if the flat top is slanted, it's called a slope.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what was his name?
MC Hammer.
MC Hammer, yes.
Yeah, he kind of had something like that.
Yeah. He had something flat on one side.
MC Hammer, by the time he came out and had that, you can't touch this, I think that was people weren't really wearing high tops like that. And if they were, they were out the door.
Oh,
they're coming out the door.
All right. So
yeah, but that is the he has something like that. I think when was that? Yeah, or I forgot what year the MC Hammer one was, but nevertheless, it was around that time.
It was around that time.
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yes,
90
with those. But
the movie Juice was actually. You know what? I apologize. I take that back. Yeah, the movie Juice came out in 1993, so it was right. Yeah,
that was
after 93. Like is when they kind of shaved all that off, and there was like, then there was another There was another one that came into play, which is like the high top fade, the fade with the dreads coming out the top. So it's like another one interesting to after, yeah. So yeah, so those are my inspirations for what I do.
All right. So just like I said, it's just so different. And then you include your one line on top of the background of that pose that you do. So and then you put all these little stars in the body. So that's something interesting. Lately, you were part also of a show with the vinyl show that they had.
The Vinyl Vision.
Yeah, the Vinyl Vision show that they had at Win 317, who was produced by Kushigig and Miami Max. So you had a very interesting album cover that you...
Yeah, Eric B. Rakim.
Yes, two legends.
Yeah.
I actually listened to the song this afternoon. I say I didn't even know it, but I
don't sweat the technique.
Yeah, don't sweat the technique. It's just like I totally dig it with the music, with your art. What you do. I guess at the time I may have missed that that thing. Well, I was already too old.
Nah, what I love about the culture is that, or just anything in general, is that it's kind of like they're artifacts. Like you just dig up, and the more you dig, you're gonna run into something. You dust it off, and you're like, oh wow, like this is incredible. I never knew this existed. So everything just gets lost or buried in the sands of time. And all you have to do is just go back into the sands of time and start digging. You dust these things off, and you're like, oh wow, you discover something that was once new, and that you'll make it, you'll bring it out again like a diamond. And that's kind of
it's like a diamond in the rough. Yes, you are definitely a diamond in the rough. And like I said, the name of the podcast, Write Your Narrative. You've been writing the Miami narrative now for 12, 15 years. So that's kind of cool. Coming to the scene, bringing all these ideas, doing these shows, doing your b-boy things. So bringing the music to and then mixing everything together, which is sweet that you do throughout this show. So as we mentioned lately, Art Basel, the Miami Art Week is a couple of months away. So I'm sure you have something lined up.
Yeah, we do.
You do that you're going to be doing here, or is it too early to talk about?
No. It's not too early. I mean, we're going to do it here.
Are you going to do it here at El Fresco?
Yeah, at El Fresco, we're doing like a timepiece, basically paying homage to Miami graffiti and what it is. And, if it wasn't for the graffiti here in Miami, we wouldn't have the Basel that you see now. All these writers that were in Wynwood in the 80s, Miami Max, which was one of them, amongst many more. They would just paint there in a place that wasn't as safe. They kept going and going and going and pushing until eventually, it just started pulling, and look what it pulled and turned into what's now Wynwood as we know it.
Exactly.
And it's like that's where all the art district is now. So we're doing a timepiece showcasing Miami graffiti and the different facets that graffiti has, like hand styles. So we're going to show the best Miami hand styles. We're going to show pieces of like the best throwies or the best bubble letters, right?
All right.
The best burners, the best, the best of every facet that graffiti has. So we're going to do something related to that. And that's the theme, is like Miami graffiti, just paying a homage to the people who came before us, just so people know what Wynwood is, and don't lose sight of the foundation, because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going, so it's like Bob Marley says, like, what's a tree without its roots, so we're going to pay homage to the roots of this whole, of why everybody comes together really here during the first week of December, which is Basel, but in actuality, what birthed it all was that Miami graffiti scene.
Yes, it did. For Wynwood, that's absolutely undeniable. I mean, Wynwood has been Wynwood way before Basel. People have been tagging, painting, doing graffitis before all these murals, before anything commercial. So that's why now we have a museum of graffiti, because the art scene in Wynwood, in Miami in general, in South Florida, it's just so huge.
Yeah.
And finally, it's well recognized worldwide. Really, the graffitis it's an official genre of art form. So I'm sure that with that beautiful backyard that you have, not backyard, but little patio that you have, you're going to be doing some music too. And
Indeed. We're going to have final session number, what is it? We're at 10,
yes.
Yeah.
And then next month, of course, we have another vinyl session here with a different theme. Because every month you choose
a different theme.
You choose a different theme, and when you ask the artist to kind of focus on
that theme. Yeah.
Yes.
So this last show this week on last Tuesday was it was called Creature Feature, and it was Halloween theme, right?
Of course.
And then everybody contributed their art, and it was really fun and amazing art. Every time I finish hanging or I'm seeing all these pieces as I'm hanging, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be a really, really good show, and the fact that this hurricane grazed us and we missed it, it was still a great show regardless, so next month we have one called it's called Native Species.
Native Species.
Yeah. Right. So the theme this time is native species of your country. So we're highlighting North Central.
Each country. Okay.
Yeah, we're highlighting North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean artists or countries, and depending on where the artist is from, they're gonna pick an animal or an insect or a bird that represents their country.
Wow, it's already okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's the theme, and because we're a melting pot. This is the Latin American capital here in Miami and the Caribbean. So we're just like, what? Let's just highlight that, and so all the artists can have something cool and interesting and something different that they can bring to the table, incorporating their style of art.
So something to tell the listeners, these shows that you're doing here are every second Tuesday of the month.
Correct.
Don't want to miss it. Follow them on Instagram, on all the social media. The second Tuesday of
every month, yeah.
We have that really, really cool show with music, with live DJs.
Who knows? I mean, this last one, we were going to have one of my friends, Heps Fury. He's another B-boy, a world-renowned B-boy. And he also does speed painting. So what he does is he break dances. He puts on a costume.
Okay.
He'll start painting, and he has this canvas that he moves around. He built like this easel where he can like rotate it, and he's dancing. He's splashing paint
at the same time.
And he does his head spins. He gets up, splashes paint, dances, changes his costume, does something like incredible, and all in like 10 minutes. Yeah, and so because of the hurricane. He lives in Orlando. So he was like, man, you know what? I don't think I can make it. And, we understood, family first and take care of the fam and his stuff. So, but he was excited to come and hopefully we can do that, this next month or something like that. It would have been really cool this month because he always puts on a costume and it's like,
and that's, yes.
Yeah. It goes perfect with it, so, but it's all good. He does different themes as well. So I'm sure we can incorporate him into the next one.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to that. So second Tuesday of
every month.
November now. And again,
November 12th.
November 12th.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to miss that for anything. You as an artist, have you been painting or doing stuff outside? Have you tried to bring your art outside of Florida? I saw something in your Instagram that you've been to Japan, maybe, or something?
I went to Japan like 6 years ago. But it wasn't for art. It was more of like, even though I did art, I painted over there.
I know.
And I got to dance. I went there to go support my crew, my B-boy crew.
All right.
In Japan for an event that they did over there. Well, that they participated in. And yeah, so I went over there, got to dance, and got to paint, got to see the Japanese culture, experience, that side of the world. And it was incredible. The only places I've painted outside of the United States would just be Colombia.
All right. So when did you actually painted your very first mural here?
My very first mural, I think 2013 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014. And it was in the Bird Road district, actually.
Oh, yes. And they used to be really, really active over there.
Yeah. And, I did that. And then or my second. You know what? I take that back. That was my second one. My first one was here in Little Haiti off 71st and 2nd, or North Miami, and it's still there actually. It's faded, yeah, but it's faded.
It's faded for sure.
Yeah, it's faded, but it's in Little Haiti, and then I did that second one over there, and that was like the first one in Little Haiti.
So you do most of the work on canvases, or you're more canvas guy, or you're more into murals? Oh,
I do both. I mean, I started doing them obviously like on paper, and then on canvas, and then on mural. You know, like because it's not graffiti, but it is graffiti. So like even though it doesn't have like letters, but everything about my characters or about the art that I do has the elements of graffiti. So just like a graffiti piece, you know, you sketch your outline on the wall, and then you fill it in, and then you put the 3D in, and you do the background, and then you do the outline, or depending on what your method is. So I do the same thing. Like I do my initial sketch, I fill it in, I do my my 3D, the background, the outline, the force field, whatever you want to call it, and then obviously their characters, and then I outline it at the end. So and then it has graffiti elements as well, so yeah.
It does, because in those lines, you see that 3D effect and you see the graffiti elements. That's undeniable. Well, we're pretty much at the end of this podcast. That's a little conversation that we had. This was really, really interesting. And I said that one more time, the fact that you include music, b-boy, there's, at least down here, not that many people who are doing it. I only know one more guy who's doing the b-boys.
Yeah.
You know him too? My buddy Smog One from Palm Beach.
Of course, yeah, but he does b-boys. Yeah.
He does b-boy. He does b-boy too. Louie, thank you so much for that time we have today.
Yep.
Follow him, Louie Ideology, on Instagram.
It's Louie, so I'm going to spell it phonetically. Lima, Oscar, Uniform, India, Echo, Delta, Echo, Oscar, Lima, Oscar, Golf, Yankee. And you can also follow the studio here, the gallery. It's El Fresco _Miami. And I want to give a shout out to my crew, BGSK, my crew, Flipside Kings, and all the b-boys out there rocking on. Thank you very much for having me. And hopefully we can get Crave and I on the next one and talk about
Crave at some point. Will be on the podcast for sure. Oh no, there's a time and a place for everything. I've been here in Miami for 30 years. I've been covering the art scene for the past 12 years. So I'm still going to be around, and you guys going to be around. You're going nowhere, and I'm going nowhere. All right.
Indeed.
So thank you so much again for listening to this podcast. A great conversation we have together, and finally getting to meet you a little more.
Likewise.
All right. Guys, this is all the time we have today. So follow us on social media. Also, write your narrative. And that's what we just discussed. I mean, really, Louie has been part of the Miami narrative for quite some time now. So thank you so much again for everything. And we'll see you next week.